104 or 150. So it's a lot. It's a cat and mouse game between China, between Xi Jinping and Trump. That's what it is. But they're gonna fall. They're gonna bend the knee. China gonna break. They're gonna.
Yeah, for
It'll be
sure,
different. If
man.
that was been Joe Biden. Now, if Joe Biden was in office, would been this country would have been done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Joe Biden, man. This man, the inflation would be so bad right now because we still would have to
It,
borrow money due to the
well,
deficit.
we what's up? Yeah. So NBC and CNN and the View is saying about these what Trump is not doing and stuff. And we need a it's who is it? Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, DL Hughley. It's time to call them out.
Are predominantly liberal commentators and yeah, media and things like that definitely agree. So I want to just point out this is
Yes.
that I just want to just point this out. Tariffs will work because you know we have $36 trillion in debt, and in 2025 they probably will spend $6 trillion, but only collect probably like 4 trillion when it comes to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have to borrow $2 trillion, and that's going to add to the national debt would be going to $38 trillion.
Right. And you know what the good thing about what Trump say? He's gonna use the tariff for to reduce the deficit. He trying
Yeah,
to
for sure.
eliminate
See,
the.
because yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because Trump got three levels for cutting the national debt, and one will be cutting expenses by $1 trillion, and that's what Elon's
Mm-hmm.
job is. You know, that's kind of Elon's job. He's getting rid of all of the useless spending, like the frauds, like the Social Security payments that's getting paid out to people that's like over 150 years old and things like that. And like all of the stuff that Doge found, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. Elon is definitely progress. And then two would be increasing the revenue by like $1.2 trillion. So basically, I would believe like tariffs, the money that we receive from tariffs from other countries, it will go from 50 billion to 500 billion, which would be also adding to the debt. You know what I'm saying? So, and you got
Yes.
to see how these people rip us off with tariffs, Mr. Dennis. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh,
I was looking at
definitely,
these.
definitely. Both
They rip
ally
us
and
off.
enemies. Yes, they ripped
Yeah,
us off um, years and years through the rest of these presidents that they're afraid to say something or they don't want to get involved of it, and that will improve the GDP too as well. Um,
right.
but that's why Trump put in a world tariff on all these different countries because and he see now that these countries been ripping up. They've been ripping us off since
For years,
since
man.
Reagan. Yes, even when Reagan was in office, they've been ripping us off.
Yeah.
And who was the biggest beneficiary of all these tariffs? Nobody but China.
Yep. Absolutely.
China
And
was the
other and
biggest.
others.
Yeah.
Yep. And I want to say that people are scared about these. I believe what China put a 38% tariffs on America, and people are scared about that. But the thing is, people are failing to realize when it comes to all of these countries, America is the biggest customer on earth. We are the biggest consumers on earth. We
Yep.
probably consume about
Yep.
$20 trillion a year. We probably what
Mm-hmm.
consume $20 trillion a year, and we probably import 3 million. Not 3 million, 3 trillion a year. We import 3 trillion a year. Now, like I was saying earlier, when it comes, okay, let's say cars for example, right? You got an American made car that's
Yep.
going into Europe. they will put a 10% tariff on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But let's say you
Right.
got a European car coming to America, the tariff on that is like 2.5%. So it's not even fair for
Or
being
less than
honest.
that. Or less than that.
Right.
Or less than that. So the European country and are very very well. What's the word I'm looking for? They know how to con people on that. They just know how to con some of the American politics right there. And then you got some of these congressmen, especially the Democrats, who support this type. Ralph Hand. Look what Jasmine
Right.
Crockett said. She was rooting for Mexico and Canada against the United States on this tariff war. Now,
Yeah.
now here's the thing: they could sit around us with these tariffs all they want to because it's not going to hurt our economy. But
It's
a ten
not. It's really
percent
not.
tariff on it won't hurt us. It won't hurt our economy. But if we put a 10% tariff on them, oh, they ready. All hell will be loose right there. So they will unleash so much hell. Like, how dare you hit us with these tariffs and stuff? How dare you for trying to bankrupt us?
Right.
You know, so
And then I just
that's how they do
consume $20 trillion when it comes to, revenue, and we import like what, $3 trillion a year. That's a
it.
year.
Yeah,
So if China
exactly.
want to play this game, we can play this game. But
We can play
I'm
this
for
game,
tariffs.
yes.
Yeah, and then I'm also for tariffs as well because it's more infrastructure in our country, like more American made manufacturing, stuff of US made material, I believe, or whatever that's made in the
Mhm.
USA, we keep all of that. Now, if it's made in China,
Yeah,
I believe China get 30% of that.
right. So, and then you know what's so bad about it is that they they don't. So, first of all, what is when that what is? I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Yes. So let's define what tariffs is and what does tariffs do for the United States. First of all, tariff is when we import another country goods into let me rephrase this. When we send our products to a different country, they could tax us. That's what tariffs do.
Right.
And that's what, yeah. So if you understand business and economics, that's what tariffs do. Like when China want to hit us with a 34% tariff, then Trump said, well, we'll hit you with 150% tariffs and stuff. So that means any of our goods, you're gonna pay double the taxes on them goods. That's gonna be imported into their country. So that's how this
Right.
tariff game works.
But that's
It
the
don't have
thing though,
nothing to
but
do.
they're only shooting themselves in the foot though when it comes to that. I'm glad you brought that point up because they only shoot themselves in the foot when you do that. Okay, let's say this pen, right?
Yeah.
You got this pen that's made in America.
Hmm.
And you probably buy it for like what, $1, right? And you
Yeah.
probably got another pen that's in China, that's from China, excuse me, the same exact pen that's from China, that's probably 50
Yeah.
cents, right? Now,
Yeah.
let's say you
Mhm.
have a cheaper pen anyways, that's just common sense. So
Yeah.
that's bringing in more money to our country and keeping it in our country as well
Right. Yes.
today, and how this is actually good for the country. So no, you didn't miss much. So basically, we was just saying how tariffs will work because America has $36 trillion in debt in 2025. They will probably spend, excuse me, $6 trillion, but only I believe collect like $4 trillion in revenue. So they would have to borrow $2 trillion, which will ultimately go to the deficit that we already have, which is 36 trillion. It will be 38 trillion by the year 2025. And we were breaking down the levels of Trump's tariffs. One being cutting the expenses by cutting the deficit by at least $1 trillion, right, Mr. Dennis? And we were
Yes,
talking
that's
how
true.
Elon Musk, his job when it comes to cutting the expenses is with Doge. That's basically the main point of Doge. And you got useless spending like a fraud when it comes to social security number payments for people over 150 years old. I don't even think our country is older than some of these names and ages that I've seen. Is actually ridiculous. And then increasing the revenue. I believe this was number two. This was increasing the revenue by 100. Well, excuse me, not 100, but 2 trillion dollars. Tariffs will go well, when it comes to the revenue and the money that we bring in from tariffs. It will go from 50 billion to 500 billion. And
Right.
the reason, right, and the reason because um, America is the top consumer in the world. Like you said, Mr. Dennis was pointing out that America, we consume 20 trillion a year, and 3 trillion goes to import. We import 3 trillion a year. And yeah,
Exactly.
guys. So I believe that's where we were at from there.
Yeah. So that's the main thing right there. And so instead of everybody hitting the panic button about it's going to increase inflation, no, it won't increase inflation. The tariff is going to decrease inflation. You just got to learn. We just got to be patient when it happens because you got these different countries like Vietnam was the first country to negotiate raw hand. So that's the one raw hand that
MT says who pays the consequences of tariffs? The other countries do, sir. Have you not seen China caving in?
no that but they
They're
will.
caving. They're
Even
definitely
all
caving.
different countries are ready to negotiate now with these tariffs because they didn't think Trump was going to hit them with the tariff. So the different countries, it's going to benefit us more than it will benefit these countries here. That's what's going to happen with
Absolutely.
these tariffs. And well, like I said, Trump is going to use these tariffs to eliminate this what $30 trillion in debt, the deficit we're in. So that's what's going to happen. So that's why Trump is so into trying to put American first, Ralph, hand, because it's about us. It
How
shouldn't
is it
be a
affecting
different
America?
country.
How is it affecting the American people? First of all, first of all, when it comes
What's
to
up?
Doge in general, when it comes to the Trump cabinet in general, anyone who makes over $150 or more, he's telling them to pay zero tax. So they have to pay zero tax. They don't have to pay no taxes if you make over 150K a year. That's decent. And corporate tax goes from 12% to 5%. Come on, bro. Like you can't beat that when it comes to this cabin. And
So,
then you guys got to remember he's cutting taxes. If Elon is successful in cutting $100 trillion in expenses, he can add $1 or $2 trillion to the revenue, which would that's more money for the economy. That's more money for people who feel like they can't get enough for doing their job, or people who feel like they're not making enough at their job. You feel what I'm saying? So
yeah.
like we said earlier, dude, these tariffs are absolutely going to work. Now, I mean, I've seen the stories like the stock market and things like that. Yeah, that's going to happen. But actually, I've seen inflation has dropped 1.2% as of yesterday, and
Hmm.
I mean, we're slowly but surely starting to see this play effect.
Exactly. That's all. Uh, DJ Zebo say that's cap. That is affecting the American people. No, it won't. These tariffs will not affect the American people at all. No, I debunk that. But you got to look at who don't want the tariffs to happen. The Democrats. The Democrats. They do not want these
Yep.
tariffs to happen because it affect their money making scheme.
They didn't even want Americans to receive the $5,000 that Trump and JD Vance was trying to give them. And
No,
even Jasmine
no.
Crockett spoke up against that. So they
Yeah,
would
she did.
rather have that money go into illegal pockets than American citizens' pockets. But anyways,
And
like
speaking,
we were saying, well, like we were saying when it comes to the tariffs, we are the biggest customers in
listen,
the world, the biggest consumers, the biggest customers, whatever you want to call it, in the world, guys. We what? We consume 20 trillion in revenue a year
exactly.
though. You feel what I'm saying? Oh no, I think he was. I think no, Mr. Dennis. I think Zebo was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay then. Okay. Sorry
Yep.
about that, Zebo.
No, you all good. You are. I think you good. But yeah. And then
My
have you
apologies,
guys
Zebo.
heard of the gold card?
Say that again.
Uh, you heard about the gold card, Mr. Dennis? I think your camera flipped or your
The
phone
gold
flipped or
card.
something.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
phone.
It's a gold card. This gives a lifetime. This gives lifetime U.S. I believe. Let's see. I don't want to get the facts wrong. Um,
Oh shoot.
I believe it's residency though. I believe it gives lifetime
Mm,
residency for $5 million. I believe.
interesting.
Yeah, and but I'm
Interesting.
saying though, but even with this plan though, just 10% of people buying this, that will bring in $1 trillion, which will go to the deficit. You feel what I'm saying? And like I
Yes.
said, if Elon is successful with cutting $1 trillion in expenses when it comes to our revenue and put it back into the
Mm-hmm.
economy, that would definitely help us a lot. It's not
Right.
even it's not
And
even close to being close.
and, and here's another thing that's important. We need to start buying stocks now while it's in the red because once that stock market increase, your that value gonna boom. Your portfolio gonna shoot up beyond imagination. So I think it's very important for us to start investing in stocks too. Now the stocks
Right,
is in the red, but that's okay. That's a good thing because you want to buy in the red because once that stock price go up, the economy going up, everything gonna go up. When that's go up, you're gonna see some money coming in and stuff. So I
right. So my thing is this, guys. If you guys don't think the tariffs is fair, why do you feel like the other countries can do it to us? Because I mean, like I said earlier, when it comes to Europe, the European countries, when it comes to cars, they're charging us 10% for American made cars to come into their country, but we're only charging 2.5%. So what's
that's
wrong
not
with
right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dennis, what you say?
That's not right what they doing to us too.
Right, that's what I
That's
said. It's
not
just
right.
not fair. Even when you include NATO, all of our
Yeah,
stuff that helps out NATO and the money that we spend on NATO, how much money does NATO put into America? Please
they
help me
don't.
find out because I don't know any money
And
that NATO gives us at all. And
and that's why Trump pull us out of NATO because they figured they could charge us money. They like let's say the war between Ukraine and Russia. So NATO now Ukraine is not part of the NATO and stuff. So let's try Poland. Poland's part of NATO. So if somebody invade Poland, they expect to come to fight their war, but they not going to invest the money in the war. Um, Whoever invaded Poland, like the United States will, because that increase our tax in a big deficit, will come down to this war, and that's why Trump want Putin and Zelensky to come to some kind of negotiation because Putin has been draining this country bone dry under the Biden administration.
right.
So when
And yep,
when Trump called Zelensky out, he told he thought that he was going to get some money from Trump. Trump already made it clear that That's the end of that gravy train. That stopped. That
Yeah.
stopped.
And even
So
people like Zelensky, they're unappreciative of the money that we give them. I believe we gave him well over like uh what uh what almost a
trillions
trillion
of
dollars.
dollars.
I
Yes,
don't even know how much money we
yes.
gave Zelensky. It's almost
That
ridiculous though.
money
But
could
that's the
fix it.
thing.
That
Like,
money and that type of money will fix his country.
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, why can't we keep that money here? You feel what I'm saying? And like I was saying earlier, in 2025, they would have spent like $6 trillion, but only
Yes.
collected like what $4 trillion in revenue. So they would have to actually borrow $2 trillion, with which would ultimately have our national debt at 38 trillion. You feel what I'm saying? So we need these tariffs. We need other people to pitch in, guys. Now, I don't see how
Yes.
America will. And then a lot of people fail to realize 100 years ago. This is just a fun fact. But 100 years ago, where do you think 100% of our income came from? They came from tariffs. So 100 years ago, our country, the our majority of our money that we made for our country came from tariffs. It basically came from the you know the trading that we were doing with other countries. So nowadays,
Hmm.
that now that we have made all these countries so rich, they feel like they don't need us anymore, but they still want us to pay, which is absolutely not right.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Back in 1989, 1990, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, did you know that the Kuwaiti government had to charge us to use their airstrip to fight the war, fight the war against Iraq at the time?
I believe you. I think you told me the story a long time ago though. But yeah,
No, I never told you that story. I never told you
this
that
must have been
story.
another one. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
eh, yeah, they charge us. They charge anytime that they the United States coming in, whatever country that may be, they should have been obligated to pay the United States. Guess who said that? Donald Trump. He said that they should pay us to fight their war and stuff. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. He said they should pay they should pay us raw hands to fight their war against Iraq.
Right.
Instead of that, we paid them.
Yep.
We paid them. Because you got some of the United States government, they suckers. They are suckers and they playing us as suckers. So that's one thing about it. But as far as that go, Trump pulled us out of NATO. I think that was the best move he did. He did that on his first term, and then
Hmm.
Biden put us back into NATO. And so that's what happened around saying. We should not pay these different countries, no countries, both Europe and Asia, to protect them. We should not even invest our money into NATO like that. You talk about Putin? You ain't talking about the Cold War, are you? Hmm. You talking about the United States? Well, that was the European country right offhand. And what happened was Russia, well, they didn't want Russia part of NATO because they figured they was a communist country it still is to this very day, I might add.
Right.
So so when the United States was part of NATO and stuff because we're the biggest. We have the. I think we have the largest military in compared to the European countries. And what happened was that they want us to fight, because we so accustomed to getting their war involved with everybody else's war. And the sad reality about it is that they expect us to pay them to fight
Right.
their enemies. Just like, uh, so that's why Trump saw something that Clinton, Reagan, both Bushes, and Obama didn't see, and
Hmm.
he saw it from uh economic perspective that we paying them money to protect them. Let them protect their own selves, and that's why Trump pulled them out of NATO. And now you
Right.
got, but as far as the tariffs go, India is ready to negotiate. Japan ready to negotiate. Vietnam is ready to negotiate. All these countries are ready to negotiate now. France want to hit another tariff, and France don't have a good economy like the United States.
They really
Canada
don't.
don't have a Even Canada don't have a good economy like the United States. And you see what they did on the news one time? They pulled all the liquor out of their shelves. Like, you really not hurting us. You really hurting the people in
Honestly,
Canada.
yeah. And I'm assuming you're talking about wine from France, right?
Huh?
Are you talking about the wine that comes from France? Because that's, I mean, I believe that's their number one seller when it comes to America is their
Not on.
wine, right?
Well, that's the no, no, no. Like the whiskey, the bourbon and stuff. That's American made.
So that's what France was doing.
No, that's what Canada was doing. Canada
Oh,
was doing that.
Canada. Oh
Canada
Lord, you
was
talking
doing it.
about Justin
Yes,
Trudeau?
Canada was
He's
doing
not
that.
even a prime
And then,
minister anymore. But gee,
yeah, they have another prime minister. Yeah, Justin Trudeau. He stepped down. He stepped down
yeah,
because
he's not
it's
prime
too.
minister anymore.
Yeah, he's
But
no,
I
no,
do,
no.
I do have this video that I want us to listen to right quick. The 100, I believe it's 105% tariff on China. So we got the White
Something
House
like.
press secretary speaking right now, guys, and we're just gonna listen in. I believe it's 2 minutes. Let me know if you guys can hear it or not. But this is basically explaining the 104%, excuse me, tariffs on China right now.
Go ahead. Caroline, on the president's threat yesterday on social media to increase tariffs against China by an additional 50% in response to their retaliation, has he signed anything in terms of an executive order, any documentation around that? Will that additional 50% go into effect tomorrow?
They will be going into effect at 12:01 a.m. tonight, so effectively tomorrow. Yes. Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to
I
make a
told you, Mr. Dennis. I told you
Mm-hmm.
they're caving in. China is giving
Yo,
up.
yo, that's good. That's good.
You feel what I'm
Good.
saying? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
104% tariff. Nobody is buying. Like, come on, man. I understand. You know what I'm saying? You Xi Jinping and all of that, bro. But we buy all of China's stuff. You feel what I'm saying?
So
And here's what people are not understanding. If we don't buy, you don't earn. America, we consume $2 trillion a year. We import 3 trillion.
just imagine how much. Can you imagine how much it is per day?
I'm saying so.
That's scary.
China,
He's.
this
I just.
can't. China just can't
No, they
handle this.
can't.
None of these countries
They
can handle
can't.
this at all.
And you know what I call that? That's called leadership from Trump. That's a leader.
Yeah, absolutely,
Trump is a leader. He's a leader. You may not don't like his attitude, but he's a leader. I'd rather have him as a lead, as a boss.
man. Black people
That's a.
loving a slaver. How are we loving a slaver? We're talking about tariffs, moron. Do you have an opinion on the tariffs? But let's continue, Mr. Dennis. We got some haters in there
Yeah.
right now.
Oh,
make a deal
figure.
with the United States. It was a mistake for China with the tomorrow. Yes. Look, I just
So
spoke to the
China are now saying that it was a mistake what they did, and now they're trying to negotiate.
Oh,
president
they
about
just
this.
find.
And he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that she and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
China has to call first.
The Chinese to make a deal, they just don't.
Jordan is made in China sweatshop, so they're made in China. But the thing is, America pays China for that merchandise so it could come into our country. So if we don't buy it, that means we're gonna buy something cheaper. Like it was kind of like the pen analogy earlier. If China raised their tariffs, then this pen will ultimately be $3 instead of 50 cents now. And now the American made pen is $2. I'm going with the American made pen, and then all of that money will stay in America. You know,
Mm-hmm.
30% goes to China, and I believe the other what um what 70% goes to
What?
America.
It or not, knows that this president is right when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to trade. In fact, Democrats have long said that the United States of America has been ripped off by the countries around the world. They just don't want to admit it now because it's President Trump
Absolutely.
who is saying that. In June of 1996, Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor. She urged her colleagues at the time to fight against the status quo.
Somebody in my chat was just
Yeah.
talking about this. Somebody in my chat was
Yeah.
just talking about how Nancy Pelosi
They
was talking
show
about
that
tariffs in
video. They
1996.
that vid. I saw that video about 3 or 4 days ago.
Right.
Pelosi spoke on the House floor. She urged her colleagues at the time to fight against the status quo trade policies that had contributed to America's trade deficit with China. In fact, Nancy Pelosi said, how far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit? How many jobs have to be lost for the American workers? How much dangerous proliferation has
Absolutely. What's going on, Miss Latanya? What's going on?
That's when Pelosi was a true Democrat at the time, back in the Clinton administration.
Yeah.
Now she's corrupt. She
Yeah, now
corrupt and
she's a
drunk.
nut job. Right.
to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo. Those are the words of Nancy Pelosi in 1996. Well, President Trump is finally answering her call 27 years later. Nancy Pelosi can thank President Trump today for the 104% retaliatory tariff that will be going into effect on China. In 2007, Chuck Schumer spoke of our nation's crippling trade deficit, saying these are the kinds of records the American people don't want us to be breaking.
Chuck Schumer. Schumer. Come on.
The administration needs to move beyond words, take action now to reverse a trend that threatens our prospects for future economic growth. And Chuck Schumer said that in 2007. Finally, in 2025, President Trump is taking action.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. 104% tariffs on China.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
What does this mean? It means that China is definitely going to stop ripping us off sooner than later, very sooner than later, what it sounds like.
And China is bending the knees.
Yeah, man. And like I said, the national debt is 36 trillion. They're trying to spend, I mean, hopefully the Democrats just realize what they're doing is stupid. But what the Democrats are trying to allow is for us to spend $6 trillion in 2025. But like I said, the revenue they will only collect $4 trillion in revenue. So they would have to borrow $2 trillion, and that would ultimately add to the deficit that we have now, which is $36 trillion. And it would go up to $38 trillion, which is not good. And then, like I said, to the new people that's in and the idiots in here, Trump has three levels. And when it comes to cutting national debt, number one being cutting expenses by $1 trillion, and that's exactly what Doge is doing. That's Elon's plan. That's his job, and that's exactly what he's doing. Like we were talking about early, when it comes to Social Security number payments for people who are over 150 plus years old, that's fraud. You know what I'm saying? We cutting that. Mutilating rice, not rice, but mice, mutilating mice. You know what I'm saying? Cutting off their genital areas and stuff like that. Yeah, we're cutting that. $15 million to the Taliban. What are you doing, man? Nah, we're cutting that. Uh, what was it? What was it? Millions of dollars for Sesame Street. Cut. What are you guys doing? You feel me? Like, no, we're not doing that. And then when it comes to increasing the revenue, that's the second
Right.
plan. He's going to increase the revenue by $1 or $2 trillion, and he's going to put that back into the
You
economy.
know what?
Like,
You know what?
sorry, but excuse me. Like, okay, just tariffs alone, guys. We only receive $50 billion in tariffs when it comes to other countries. 50 billion. If Trump is successful, we will be receiving $500 billion in tariffs. That's already cutting the deficit when it comes to $1 trillion by half. That's already cutting the deficit by half when it comes to $1 trillion. Tariffs alone,
And,
$500 billion, we could use that, and that can go to the economy. And then, like I said before, guys, NATO have been absolutely ripping us off. I need to stay here. All of the infrastructure, like car manufacturing jobs, those type of jobs need to stay. First of all, they're jobs. Period. Americans need more jobs. So we might as well keep those jobs here in America. And like I said, when it comes to all of this property, not property, but merchandise, uh uh build back better USA. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to the material in the merchandise that's coming in from the other countries, and that we're receiving and what they're receiving from us, is just not fair. I mean, if I'm looking at these cars, if I'm looking at these numbers right, uh, Europe have a 10% tariff on us when it comes to cars, but we only have a 2.5% tariff on them. Make it make sense, and that's what I'm saying. Either they have to put the tariff down to 2.5% as well, or we rise our tariff up to 10%. Make it make sense. What about the federal jobs cut? They're not doing anything, bro. Do you okay? Listen. Do you realize that majority of these congressmen and congresswomen that you guys voted in, they're receiving well over $100,000, and they're not even showing up to work. They're not even showing up to work. Why continue to pay these people? They're not doing their jobs. What is wrong with these folks? Thanks to
uh, the thing, you go, if everybody have X, that's formerly was Twitter, go to Doge, follow Doge, and they'll tell you everything what they found and what Trump is eliminating offhand. These government jobs are not benefiting this country or nobody.
right.
It just benefits the Democrats that
LGBT
hired them.
comics. They spending like what, 4 million for LGBT comics in the Middle East, or
Yeah,
what? Where was that?
yeah.
It was crazy. It's
Uh,
nuts,
I know
guys.
they had one. I know they had $20 million for a transgender person in Venezuela I mean, a prisoner in Venezuela to get a a sex change operation and stuff
Right,
like that.
$5 million just LGBT. Now that I'm thinking about it, just to promote it, guys. It's insane. And
Yeah.
then look, you guys are forgetting that this is a capitalist country. When it comes to corporate tax, Trump is cutting corporate tax from 12% to 5%, guys. So let's say you is a stockbroker or you invest in stocks or you are a business owner. That's helping you. That's honestly should be the goal for everyone. We need to put back into the economy, into the infrastructure. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with getting a job, but you working a job is ultimately helping someone with their business and or what they're doing, and then it's giving back to the economy. If you pay taxes, you're giving back to the economy. The person with the business, they're creating jobs, guys. They're creating jobs for you. So if you when you guys get mad at the millionaire or the billionaire, they and that's what I'm saying. These people watch too many movies, guys. They think the millionaire and the billionaire just sit up top on the top of the building and just look down on everybody like they're ants and stuff like that. Like, no, that's not what happens. The billionaire probably suffers more than anybody because he's losing the most money. Like, let's say the owner of Disney, right? They just had this movie that just dropped. What was it, Snow White or something like that? That movie
Yeah,
just lost. How much money did that movie just lose? Probably like what,
it, it
150,
lost
like
it
a
lost a
hundred and
lot.
fifty million freaking dollars, guys. $150 million. That's $150 million that they cannot get back. That's before promoting though. That's actually
Hmm.
before the promotion of the actual movie. So when you think about the capitalist country that we have, you got to be appreciative of what we have, guys. Because if we wasn't a capitalist country, you probably wouldn't have a job. You probably have to either start your own business or you will have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And if you're gonna have a job in a communist country, it's not gonna be a good one. You're not gonna be getting paid a lot, which would be China,
And
guys. Because go ahead, I'm
let,
sorry.
let me add on to what you just say, and that's a valid point. So, what Trump is doing now, he's not only bringing a job back, but he preferred these people who so-called lost these worthless government jobs. They hiring in the private sector, and that's what Trump is doing. He's bringing all these jobs back to make it more private because the private sector is gaining more revenue than the government jobs for offhand.
Right.
So we got to look into that too as well. That Trump is. That's why Trump is bringing all these jobs back into the United States, raw fan.
Right. That will
And
actually force jobs to be brought back to the United States as well, too.
yes,
And that will
yes,
force income from other countries to come into our country. So you're absolutely right
yes.
about that one.
So he mostly what Trump is trying to do is make more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's more blue collar raw fan. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Somebody said that he's taking money from the
Put it
millionaires
on the floor.
and giving it back to the middle class or something like that. But like I said before,
Okay,
guys,
if
cutting
some could
corporate tax,
name who
huh?
here's you got the Rothschild. They still they billionaires. You got who is it? Rothschild, Goldberg, uh the one who owned Chase Bank and stuff. You got those billionaires Ralph hand that keep and George Soros. And and guess what? Guess how he funding these people doing all this white job like these rights and stuff. It go through our tax dollars from George Soros. So I believe that the FBI need to freeze his account, Ralph saying.
Yeah, absolutely. George Soros is an absolute con artist, and then he and
Yep.
Black Lives
Black
Matter, and
Lives
they're
Matter.
actually back at
Yep.
it again, guys. Now they're making new groups about Elon Musk, saying, yeah, the terrible start of some crazy cringy mess. But
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can say F Donald Trump all you want to, this, that, and the third, but ultimately this will benefit the country. Like, you ain't gotta delete their comments. Like,
Hmm.
haters is gonna hate, Pete. You know what I'm saying? Haters is gonna hate.
Hmm.
Nobody's actually worried about these libtards anymore because we have business to take care of. Let's listen to another clip with Ted Cruz and his opinion on the new tariff. Let's see.
Tariffs tariffs are a tax on consumers, and I'm not a fan of jacking up taxes on American consumers. So my hope is these tariffs are short-lived and they serve as leverage to lower tariffs across the globe. What President Trump is initiating here, this is a long-held belief that he believes that tariffs will correct those problems. But what's also indisputable is the markets are down about 8% in just 2 days, and I'm getting all kinds of reaction from businesses, farmers in Wisconsin that are highly concerned about what's happening. So
Amazon is down. Wow.
this is going to turn out here. It's a bold, risky move. When McKinley most famously put tariffs on in 1890, they lost 50% of their seats in the next election. When Hans Smuley put on a tariff in the early 1930s, we lost the House and the Senate for 60 years. So they're not only bad economically, bad politically. Oh, Rand, baby, from your lips. David Jelly.
Oh Lord. So, I mean, like I said, the stock market is going down, guys. But that's only a
You too.
short. What you say, Mr. Dennis? That's only going to be a short occurrence, though. But this will ultimately bring in more money for Americans, guys, because it's forcing other countries to pay their what you guys call it, their fair share. And I'm actually using it in the correct sense when I say fair share, because when I'm looking at these tariffs and what they're putting on us when it comes to tariffs, it's way more than what we're putting on them, guys. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think that other countries should be getting over on us like this when it comes to these crazy tariffs. And I think what Trump is doing is absolutely right, especially when it comes to our true enemies like China. You guys can say Russia and all this other crazy Russian collusion all you want, but we know who our number one enemy is in the world, and that would be China. That's our biggest competitor.
Mhm.
They're the number one producer of fentanyl. Mexico being their number one buyer. You know what I'm saying? And majority of the fentanyl is coming here in America. So
That's
that's
all
a
I got right
no
here.
go.
This and that.
So yeah, any oh okay. So yeah, guys, like I said, these tariffs will definitely benefit us. And I mean, as of now, it looks bad only because the stock is going down. But I genuinely do not believe that this is going to be like long term, guys. Because yeah, our stocks is going down, things like that. But I'm pretty sure these other countries are definitely way much more worth in other countries than it is here. So if you take a dollar and you bring it to Mexico, it's gonna be worth more, and it's just like that for other countries as well. So, like I said, I mean, people can't really debate. And like I said, this just shows your people's character. You guys can't debate. You guys have to do things like this kitty childish crap that you're doing now. This dude that's spamming the comments. Like, this is what children do. You guys gotta like. You guys don't have an actual plan. Like how I just broke down for the almost hour now, talking about how they're trying to spend an extra $6 trillion in 2025, but only 4 trillion of those dollars will be added to the revenue. So they're going to have to borrow $2 trillion, and then that would ultimately add to the deficit, leading to $38 trillion. And here's the thing: when it comes to these clowns, all you guys can do is spread hate and division. You see what I'm saying? All you guys can do is mess up people's Teslas, riot, loot, shoot people, hurt people, punch people in the face, this, that, and the third. Like, this is all what you people can do. You guys can't debate. You guys can't debate at all. You guys can't debate at all. And and honestly, your foolishness just speaks for itself. Your foolishness just speaks for itself. You're spamming the comments like a fool. And I'm pretty sure you think just like every other libtard thing. You probably don't even know how tariffs work. You're a master debater spamming the comments, bro. How old are you? 5? And see, here's the thing. Now you're gonna get put on blast, Robert. 20 times, 20 times you just spam the same sentence, but you're a master debater. Debate me on tariffs. Okay, if tariffs isn't gonna work, how are we gonna get rid of the deficit that we have in our country, dude? How are we gonna make other countries pay their fair share? You tell me. Tell me why you got countries in Europe that we're paying 10% tariffs when it comes to our cars going into their countries, but what they only got to pay 2.5% of their cars coming into our countries. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Like he can't have an actual comment. He's a clown. Like you said, he's a clown. What do you mean tax the rich? We tax. You do realize that the one percenters pay 90% of our taxes in
Can
America,
I ask?
right?
Who's that? Robert. Robert. How that's going to
Robert
tax the rich
Carter.
going to work?
He
How
don't
that's
know
going to
how
work?
capital
Can you
tax
make
gain works.
no?
He don't know
Hold on
how
for a second,
capital
Vashawn.
tax
I
gain
want
works.
you, Robert. Do me a favor. Make make something logical on why you think the rich going to be taxed and stuff. So who are the rich? And how you think they're gonna be taxed? Because the rich give the billionaires giving out more money in taxes than anybody else.
They
So
pay 90%. They pay
they pay more
90% of the
taxes than
taxes in
anybody else.
America, dude. What is wrong with you?
You got okay. So where's the proof that
That's
Amazon pays
because
zero
you
in
don't know
federal
how
tax?
capital tax gain work, bro. See, Robert Carter, you're a moron, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you clearly don't know how capital tax gain work. You don't know how capital tax gain work, bro. If you are a federal worker or if you work for a job, you do something called a W-2 or a 1099, whatever it's called. You do a tax form, my guy. Let's say you get a salary for what, $150,000 a year or $80,000 a year or whatever you want to call it. Dude, you as a worker,
I will.
you are guaranteed that
You
$80,000
can
a year. You are guaranteed your $15 an hour or $16,000 an hour or whatever you get an hour. You are guaranteed that money on your paycheck. But that business owner, the one that has to invest in the business, the one that's
you want
risking
to.
his money
Oh,
and
you
his
don't want to
stocks
find out.
to
So you
start
want
this
to fuck
business,
around. I'll let
he
you.
has he has way more to lose. See, and that's the thing. Like when you people don't get capital tax gain, you don't know how the economy and how the world truly works. See, he quiet now because he don't have a debate, guys. He's dumb. He's dumb as hell. It's sad now, and then now look what he's saying. It's sad y'all on here chirping for people and politicians that don't give a f about you. Debate about tariffs, bro. Do you not know anything about tariffs? We're talking about tariffs right now. We're talking about the infrastructure, not infrastructure, excuse me. We're talking about the
Why you
revenue
talking
that it's
about?
going to bring into our country.
I just
So,
want to know
so help me understand.
if you are racist or.
Come on, dude. You don't even make sense. Right? Laugh emoji. Come on, bro. You're a clown. Move. Come on, bro. Wrong laugh, dude. This for highly intellectuals over here. MSM is run by the Chinese and all the central bankers, the same motherfuckers that got us into this mess. Yeah. There'll be Barack Obama when the
Yeah,
banks
he
was ripping
did.
us off.
Yeah, that was Obama. Yeah.
Those banks were ripping us off. Trump was the one that was actually attacking the banks. Barack Obama didn't even do that. Okay, dude. And that's what I'm saying. I got to get my call in show back. I definitely got to get my call in show back because I do used to have people call into the show. I'm gonna do that again, sir. I'm gonna start doing that again. And like I said, all they can do is throw ad hominem attacks. All they can do is call us stupid. This and the third. But you guys know nothing. You guys know absolutely nothing. You guys know absolutely nothing. So explain to me why. Doge found Social Security payments that was going to people who are over 150 plus years old. Explain that to me, Carter. I mean, you don't have to respond with BS. You can just respond with actual points. You're the one responding stupid. You just spam the comments saying the same thing two, three, four times all over again. So instead of spamming the comment with the same comment, how about you actually see? Look, I know it's hard for you. I know it's hard for you to take your time and text something that you actually have to think out. But yeah, that's called critical thinking, my dude. If you can't critically think, this ain't the life for you, dude. I'm sorry. Right. You see what he said? They're lying to you. This, then, the third. They're this, they're that. Okay, man.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I would love to, man. That's why I'm like, I got to get my call in number back. As soon as I get my call in number back, guys, we definitely going to have to debate these clowns again because they don't know anything. But do you have any opinion, Mr. Dennis?
Mm-hmm. Uh, no, I don't have time to debate kids.
Yeah, he's definitely a clown.
But then I have a question I would like to ask Robert. Do you have a job? You see,
That's a good question.
do we have a job? Because when people say tax the rich, they don't have a job.
Yeah, and I actually never lost a debate. So, yeah, WRG08 is definitely a fan because I have yet to lose a debate, bro, for sure. So, look, email me, man. Email me your name, and we can do this debate tomorrow. We can do this debate tomorrow when it comes to tariffs.
Drop it over there.
How that sound?
Yeah, just drop it off at that pole.
Man, like I said, corporate tax goes from 12% to 5%. What's wrong with that? Cutting the American deficit by $1 trillion, that's Elon's job. Adding $1 to $2 trillion to the revenue in America, what's wrong with that? I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you if you had a job. I don't care about your job. I care if you're smart or not. Yeah, like, come on, man. My email is under my page. If you want to email me, send me like email me what time you want to do the debate. You know, I do work because I actually have a job. I don't know about you. I don't know about Robert Cotter here, but you know, when I get off work, I'll
Okay.
settle in and we can do the debate. I'm not gonna make ad hominem attack. I'm not gonna call you fat or you know what I'm saying, things like that. I'm not gonna do that, bro. I'm just gonna come with the facts. Gold card analogy. Him making these cars, giving a lifetime U.S. residency for $5 million. 10% of people who buy this card will bring in $1 trillion. If just as little as 10% people buy this gold card for a lifetime residency
Yeah,
in
thank
excuse me, not
you.
Chicago, but in the United States, that's $1 trillion added to the deficit. I have to say, email me, debate me or not, bro, because I sound like you're all talk to me.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
He resorts to name calling when he's looking. Yo, I mean, it sounds like the typical liberal.
No,
Time.
no.
When it comes, we cut all this useless. Honestly, I just think it's Travis says maybe a little, but the outcome will be worth it. Definitely better than a lot of content on here. Explain the tariffs now. That's just a short occurrence, guys. That's happening right now. And yeah, I hope Robert didn't chicken out either. Dollars in debt, guys. In 20, the United States wants to spend $6 trillion, but which would amount to 38 trillion. I love me some tariffs too. The number one would be cutting expenses, guys, by $1 trillion, which is what Doge is doing. What Elon Musk is doing. Mr. Dennis. People that's in the Sesame Street, it's fast. Right now, $1 billion in tariffs. A B. We only received $50 billion in tariffs. Be receiving $500 billion in tariffs, guys. By the end of this term, hopefully in 2028, we will be receiving over $500 billion in tariffs, guys. It's time for these countries to start their fair share. So is everybody still with me right now, or can I keep going?
Let me add on something to that too. You gotta be careful on who you really listen to and who is more credible and stuff. And it's very important to do research and stuff because people who are liberal, they want to keep you down. They want to keep you secluded because they not gaining nothing. I'm gaining, but they're not gaining nothing raw offhand. And we gotta call them out for who they are, like the protesters, and they protested against Elon Musk and attacking Tesla and vandalizing these Tesla and stuff.
Division. That's
There,
all it is
it's
division.
it's not only division; it's really beyond the word juvenile. And my thing is this: here, I believe that every Tesla owner should own a gun and just exercise that Second Amendment on them if they trying to vandalize their car and stuff.
There you go. And then Boston is making a good point about what I was actually just about to get into when it comes to the other countries charging us when it comes to tariffs. Dude, people
Hmm.
are scared about the China tariffs that's going on. Like what they're putting a 38% tariff, a 34% tariff, or whatever the case may be. But here's the thing, guys. America is the number one consumer in America. Excuse me. We consume like $20 trillion every year, and I believe we import what $3 trillion a year. So that's a lot of money, guys. And
Hmm.
when it comes to what Boston SJB said, let's use cars for example again. In Europe, American made cars that's going into Europe, it's a 10% tariff on that. But European made cars going into the United States, it's a 2.5% tariff. Now, I'm a believer in equality. If it's either they're gonna have to pay 10% as well, or we're gonna pay the 2.5%, just like how we're making you guys only pay. It's only fair. You feel what I'm saying? So, and then that will create more jobs in America because we need more jobs in America, and then that will also force more income from other countries to come into our country. So we won't have to keep printing money, which will be rising inflation more and more and more.
That we already went through that 4 years ago.
Right.
We went through that already 4 years ago, and they just was printing money like there was no tomorrow, and that increased the inflation by 9%. 9%. So it would be not wise to keep printing money because it's not going to solve the deficit. And then we're going to have
Absolutely
to take
not.
out loans, and we're going to take out loans from different countries with a high interest rate. So we don't want to play that game, Ralph fam.
Right.
That's the game we do not want to play because we're not going to win. We didn't win that game 4 years straight under the Biden administration. So just imagine if Kamala Harris was president. Just
Yep.
imagine.
About stocks too. 2022 stocks dropped to around 30K, but there was an outrage. Hmm. That yeah. But see, that's the thing. Like they pick and choose who they choose to be credible. Like you said, Mr. Dennis, you have to
Yeah,
know who you're getting your information from. Because if you're getting your
yeah.
PC, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, you're gonna clearly get misled. So the thing, guys, like I said before, that's gonna be they're gonna basically be forced to pay because America not paying because we're gonna always go the cheaper route. And if they, like I said, let's say China do put their tariff on this, then the third, that goes right back to the pen analogy. The pen that was $1 after the tariff that China put on it now is $3. But the American made pen is still $2. I'm gonna go with the cheaper pen every single time. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just gonna and that $2 stay in America. If I bought the $3 pen that was made in China, 30% goes to China. And so we don't really keep all of our money. But if I buy the American made pen, all that money stays in America. So you can call me brainwashed all you want to, but like I said, these are the same people that never had a plan for the last 4 years, guys. You guys didn't have a plan for the deficit. You guys were just giving out money like America got it like that. So if I'm brainwashed, help me understand what was the Democrats' plan? What was Kamala Harris' plan? What was Joe Biden plan? What was their plan? Please tell me. Stop with the name calling and tell me you guys' plan. They're totally socialist. How about communist?
Now, socialism is a good word for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, even when it comes to Bernie Sanders, oh, let's tax the millionaires. But when he become a millionaire, it's let's tax the billionaires. Like, dude, that is a clear socialist communist right there, dude. So
Who you
these
talking
are
about,
the
Bernie
people that you
Sanders?
guys wanna these the guys that you people want to follow behind. But at the same time, you guys are mad at somebody like Donald Trump and Elon Musk that's trying to cut our deficit by $1 to $2 trillion a year. What's the problem with that?
Nothing.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan at all, guys. And like I said, that money needs to stay in America. That money will stay in America if we buy the American made merchandise too. You feel what I'm saying? All this stuff that comes from China, this, then the third. Now, if he do put his petty little 34, 38% tariff on it, it's gonna be more than what the cheaper American made product is. So all that's gonna make me do is buy the American made product, which the dollar would all stay in America. 100% of that money stays in America. All of the guns that's made in manufacturing, cars that manufacture, that stuff is that dollar stays in America. That money don't go to China at all. Right. No, that's what I said. These people can't debate me, bro. They're too slow. And like I said, if you guys don't like the tariffs, what was your plan for the deficit in America? You guys are just gonna keep printing money like you're stupid? What was your plan exactly? What was your plan, Darth Doom? I'm gonna put all you people on blast. What was your plan, Darth Doom? If tariffs don't work, what was your plan for the deficit? Exactly. Irrelevant, bro. Irrelevant. Yep, absolutely. But yeah, Mr. Dennis, did you want to say anything? Make sure you guys like and subscribe too if you guys are new. If you guys are new, you're gonna
Um,
get this a lot. I go live every single day. We usually do reactions and stuff like that, but today we're just talking to Mr. Dennis about tariffs right now. So yeah,
uh,
tariffs pay for everything,
no,
not taxes. That's definitely true 100 years ago. What you say?
and see, we didn't go into this really trade war until 19 under the Nixon and Carter administration, more like the Carter administration. So that's where the damage really started from, right offhand, when Jimmy Carter was president.
Jimmy Carter was terrible. Rest in peace,
Yeah,
but he
he
was
was very
bad.
terrible. You talk about inflation,
He was
that was
ass.
Jimmy Carter
He
all
was
day
really
long.
ass.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, it was the gas price was so high that some of the gas station couldn't even have to shut down because of no gas.
Okay, George Gray said, "Let me ask you a question. Who pays who paid for the tires?"
Who paid for the
I'm gonna
tires?
assume. I'm gonna assume.
You
That was an
trying
autocorrect for
something.
tariff. But I'll ask you a question. Who's charging more? Who's charging more for tariffs? America. that's fair. First of all, let me answer your question first. The person who's bringing in the product or the merchandise, the person who wants the merchandise to be in their country, they have to pay, of course. Yes, we have to pay for our cars to be in Europe and things like that. But here's the thing, dude. They actually have to want the cars first. You feel what I'm saying? Americans, we are the number one consumers, dude, in the world. $20 trillion a year we consume all around the world, bro. $3 trillion import a year. George Gray, nobody in the world is consuming more than America. And the dollar of America is worth more than any of this other currency in the world, George Gray. So I mean, yes, stocks and stuff are gonna like it's not even really crashing. Like it's only down like by like 1 to 7% on average. It's actually working though, and I don't see what's the problem. So that's what I'm saying. Americans wasn't complaining about tariffs 100 years ago. Nancy Pelosi, she supported tariffs in '96. So what's the
And
problem?
so did Chuck Schumer.
Chuck
Chuck
Schumer
Schumer
did
did
too,
too.
right?
Chuck
Chuck
Schumer
Schumer
did
did too.
too.
We just heard it. We just heard it. We literally just heard it. So you tell me, George Gray, where was this energy for Chuck Schumer? And it's one more fact that I didn't even tell you guys. When Trump put those tariffs on China back in 2016, and when Joe Biden became president in 2020, he kept those tariffs. Joe Biden kept those tariffs on China. So why wasn't you guys complaining on the tariffs that Biden kept on China? That Trump put in play, by the way. Tell me that. And wasteful spending as well. Thanks, Brooke. But tell me that though, guys. Tell me why didn't Joe Biden get rid of the China tariffs that Trump put in play in 2016? Can anybody explain that? Can any of you libtards explain that to me? Okay, bro. Everybody pays for it, bro. What do you mean? Ultimately, they're gonna have to make the tariffs go down because America is the number one consumer. Like I said, 20 trillion a year, dude. So at the end of the day, who's really losing money here? Not us, because we're the one with the money that's actually worth something. Like, let's say China put a tariff on Mexico. That's not, I mean, that's going to hurt Mexico more than America because a peso isn't as worth as value as a dollar. Okay? Did you have anything to say, Mr. Dennis? Because I'll probably end the live in a minute. Mr. Dennis, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it any last remarks that you had about tariffs? I tried to explain it the best way I could for these people. I
Well,
thank
all
you
you
for your
gotta
help
do
as
is
well.
wait. Your best bet is wait and see how the economy will change, and then look at your pocketbook and see what's best bet for you. And then who is really going to benefit these tariffs, the United States or these other countries? Because I truly believe the United States going to benefit this much better than these other countries, especially China, offhand, and Canada too. So we're going to benefit. It's going to benefit the United States. Now, for those who don't like tariffs, you must not like the United States as well. That's what I
There
truly
you go,
believe
man. You're
offhand.
anti-America.
You're anti-American because you don't understand how this going to work out as for Americans. Now, I could say some of you kids who want to burn and destroy things, that's what you do when you practice at home. But my thing is this, for those who economically smart, be economically patient. It's going to work. It's going to benefit us. Watch.
Right. Like I said, man, these people are just result to ad hominem attacks. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to really have a
I'm gonna
debate.
pretend that you don't.
So yeah, guys,
Oh,
I
hold on.
explained
Listen what
tariff. I
Daniel say.
explained how I
You,
explained
you,
the 3 steps.
hey, hey, listen to this. Daniel say you can't see how Trump is an amateur.
Yeah, I saw that
Daniel,
garbage.
Daniel, I want to respond to that, but I'm going to be the adult, and I'm gonna pretend. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you are an adult. So just if you have a job, understand how things work and how things will benefit us and stuff. But those who complain don't have jobs, man, Sean. That's what I believe.
I agree 100%, man. And like I said, guys, we got a deficit of
Yes,
$36
once.
trillion.
I'm
dollars.
tired.
Doge is trying to cut $1 trillion a year, and they're trying to add $1 to $2 trillion in
What
revenue,
is
which will
funny?
ultimately bring money back into the economy, especially jobs. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see a problem with that. I don't see why other countries get to have a 10% tariff on us, like countries in Europe, but we only have a 2.5% tariff on them. I don't see why that's fair. If anything, either they have to pay 10% like us, or Trump, because he's not falling for it. Clearly, he just put 104% tariff on China, guys. Come on, like if that's not going to bring in money, I don't know what is. And then when it comes to the consumer, we are the biggest consumer in the world, guys. We consume $20 trillion a year, $3 trillion imported. Excuse me. So when it comes to this, if we add this money to the economy, we definitely will see jobs being, we will be seeing better paying jobs. We'll be seeing infrastructure get built up. We'll be seeing more business owners for sure, because they'll feel like they can get a loan. You can get a loan, probably get a loan on a home more, things like that, guys. Like this is where the money needs to go. Not trying to transgender mice and give condoms to the Taliban in Sesame Street in the Middle East. That's not where the money's supposed to go. And like I said, it's not about Elon Musk. It's not about Trump. It's just the fact that you guys just hate America. It's just the simple fact that you guys just hate America. Oh, last thing I want to say is that um he has this plan when it comes to this gold card that gives a lifetime residency for I believe $5 million, guys. And they're planning on 10% of people buying this gold card. So that would at least bring in $1 trillion. Only 10% of people who purchase this brings in $1 trillion, bro. $1 trillion. So yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. All the haters is coming in, but yeah, guys, we're gonna end the live right there. Um, Tariffs explained featuring Mr. Dennis. If you guys did like the live, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, we go live every single day. Um, Mr. Dennis, you want to say anything to the people?
Um, I would like to give an announcement. Tomorrow, Daniel Carter is going to be a witness on the sanctuary ordinance here in the city of Chicago. I suggest that everybody go on YouTube channel and check it out and show your support and love for Daniel Carter, known as Danny. She's a member of Chicago Flip Red. We trying to change the we trying to change everything here in the city of Chicago, as much as all these liberals, lunatics are trying to hurt this city and destroy this city through these sanctuary laws and all these illegals that's in this country here.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I'm gonna try. I'm also going to be on Zoe Lee podcast on April 23rd. I'm going to talk about the Second Amendment rights, how it affect the American citizen, and how it affect Black people as well with all these stupid gun laws that these Democrats like to throw on us.
Yeah, for sure. Because I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Dennis said. Gun laws, they only hold back law abiding citizens, guys. They do not hold back criminals. Criminals do not care about laws, especially gun laws. They do not read a thing about gun laws, guys. So all the gun laws do is just restrict us of our rights and us to use our Second Amendment rights. So, guys, please tune in to that if you guys want to check that out. With Dennis explaining the Second Amendment right. So, anything else,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Dennis?
No, that'd be it. It was wonderful talking to you guys. I'm sorry I'm at my job here and stuff. So us working class Americans have to earn a living.
Yeah, factual, man. Let them other people know in the chat that we work, man. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Hard workers over here.
Yep.
But thank you guys for joining the live. We got Brooke, Big D, WRGOA, you know what I'm saying? Miss Latanya. We got Keith. Everybody else that was in the live, I believe it was who else? I'm trying to see. Brooke, I said Brooke already, right? Boston, SJB, thanks for joining the chat. Christy, who else was in the live? I'm trying to shout everybody out. Travis was in the live. Uh, Big D, I said already. I believe Robert Carter, you should email me, so we should do that debate, man. David, shout out to you. And yeah, guys. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I believe who was that? Susan. Um, yeah, DJ Zebo and Pete. So yeah, guys. Tune in next time. Make sure you guys like and subscribe too. I would really appreciate that. And I'll be looking forward to the next live stream, guys. I'll see you later. Peace.